Okay, I'll admit that they did make it look pretty okay for trying to make it look like fencing. That being said, it was particularly contained. Having the two fencers have that much exchange without really moving up and down the strip very much, that happens mostly in epee and sometimes in foil. In saber, it doesn't really happen. Just because of how it's set up and how the rules are, and basically just all these different variables about saber in particular, it is very footwork focused. Fencers go up and down the strip, and they try to avoid staying in one spot. They do speed up and they do slow down, so it's not always, just a sprinting contest. But to put it in perspective, one of the most common pieces of advice that someone will receive if they're in the middle of a fencing bout and they're not doing so well is use more of the strip. It is highly encouraged to keep moving, to use as much of it as possible, to utilize more distance with your defense, and to utilize longer attacks with bigger setups. What they're doing now is a lot of blade work. It looks a little bit better than it did in the beginning. There's a little bit more back and forth action, but it's still there are still a few things about it that aren't completely accurate and are clearly only there for the camera. Particularly this part here, where he jumps to dodge it. You do see saber fencers jumping, but I've never seen anyone jump specifically to go over someone's blade. Thing is, the blade would be moving much too fast and usually too high to do it at all. The thing is, in saber fencing, the legs are not valid target area, so pretty much every saber fencer doesn't really have their blade that far down in the first place, specifically when they're attacking. So even if you could jump fast enough to be able to do it, you definitely can't jump high enough to do it. That being said, I'm kind of nitpicking on sort of the finer details of it, but so far a lot of this looks a lot more accurate than pretty much anything I've ever seen. So that's good.
我真的很好奇，这个闪电到底是什么人啊？居然能让你放下矜持，当他的粉丝。你看了比赛就知道了吧？这个闪电真的很特别，看他的比赛，甚至能给我击剑进攻时的启发。击剑跟拳击也差太远了吧，姐？走吧。
闪电来了！
啊！
So that's it for episode 1. There wasn't a whole lot of fencing in this. Because it is the first episode, there's likely going to be more. First of all, I've said this before, but I like the fact that they did saber fencing over anything else. That's probably because I'm biased, because saber fencing is mostly what I do. But as for this episode, most of the time studios will get a lot of stuff wrong, not only because their actors don't actually know how to fence, but also because they will take a lot of liberty with a lot of the details of just how they're dressed, how they're moving, what they're doing, what they're saying, stuff like that. And it's their movie slash TV show, so, technically you can't really say anything against it, but the more they do it, the more liberties they take with it, the less realistic it is as an overall pattern. However, for this, even though there were a number of discrepancies, it actually was not bad. It looked like they had perhaps fencing advisors who were helping to keep things legitimate. They certainly had all the gear that they needed and a lot of fencing environments. Like, a lot of the clubs looked like they were actual fencing clubs. So that's very nice to see. So for this first episode, I think I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. A lot of what was there looked very nice. Wasn't totally perfect, but it was far better than I think anything I've seen so far. So good job on them. So this was part 2 of the first episode. This will be a series going into the next couple weeks. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next week. Bye.